Welcome, beloved souls, to your souls. Well, this is Vivia. Another year is fast approaching, and it is going to be an incredible year. It will be very fast moving, lots of change, and a lot before us. So just as a quick snapshot of the year, a lot of movement. All of the outer planets change signs into fire and air. The nodes are shifting. Lots of very important transits and planetary alignments, leading to a very prominent, potent year of new beginnings and transformations. It also happens to be a universal year one, and we're going into the fire horse year in the Chinese zodiac. So that's just lots of forward movement, change, speed, and adaptability before us. There is always so much to cover in every year. In this video today, I'm going to be covering some of the main planetary shifts for 2026. You're going to want to bookmark this video and come back to it throughout the year because I will be covering a lot of points. If you haven't been here before, my name is Vivia, and this is my channel, Your Soul's Well, where I use astrology to help us navigate our rapidly shifting and exciting times. So welcome, everybody. I'm going to move into sharing this screen, and it will focus now mostly on the chart, all right? In this year, 2026, Venus makes two conjunctions with the sun, typically called a cazimi, but this rebirths Venus into her, what is known as her Venus star point. Now, I want to make sure that I credit Ariel Gutman for her work and her book, The Venus Star Point. This is where all this information comes from, so thank you so much for your work, Ariel. The first one happens here on January 6th at 16 degrees and 22 minutes of Capricorn. So she will die in the heart of the sun and then be rebirthed. The rebirth of Venus will see us rejuvenating and reimagining these parts of our lives that are ruled by Venus. Venus in astrology rules over wealth, currency, the financial access where Taurus is, where Uranus currently is ruled by Venus. And also, of course, Libra is also ruled by Venus. So therefore, it's about aesthetics, how we look, and our relationships. So in Capricorn, on the world stage, we might see some more instability on the markets, so that global financial stability being challenged, or market instability, maybe even more to do with currency collapse and issues pertaining to all things related to money, but also affecting food systems and drawing to our attention what needs to be done in terms of the food's perhaps scarcity with certain people and inequality with other people. When any planet comes into contact with the sun after its rebirth, the cazimi point, it becomes invisible. The sun, even leading up to the sun and then after contact with the sun, the planet becomes invisible. So this is what will be happening with Venus in this cycle. And although there's this beautiful and brilliant moment, this opportunity for rebirthing all these Venusian things in our lives, after that, she will be invisible roughly until mid-February, around February 17th, around the eclipse actually, where she will then appear as the evening star in Pisces, where she is exalted. This is her evening star phase, and she then will be visible from mid-February till towards the end of October 19th or so, as an evening star. So look to your chart, because something is dying and being reborn here in this house of Capricorn. When it rises, it will be in Pisces. So it's a cosmic reset point that will affect your Capricorn house, your Pisces house, and the places ruled by Venus, Taurus, and Libra. So find those places in your chart and understand that these areas of your chart are going through a cosmic rebirth. And it's a great time to start initiatives in these areas. Soon after this, on January 8th, Mars and Venus come into a conjunction at 18 degrees here. And 9 minutes of Capricorn. So again, another Capricorn placement, which is a very regular occurrence at the end and beginning of each year of the Gregorian calendar. We're in Capricorn season. And this is Venus and Mars representing the divine feminine and the divine masculine coming together and having a rebirth point. But just know that this is, I feel like, such a planetary awakening of the balance between the divine feminine and the divine masculine on the earth. And this is a point that is showing this to us. I'd like to point out that most of the charts that I'm using in today's video come from astroseek.com. And you can go there for any charts. It's just a great resource and a great database of astrological information. So at this point in time, we will be having a rebirth of the polarized energies of Venus and Mars coming together. And I think that as we continue to move forward on our path of awakening to who we are as a species, as a collective, as our own individual selves, we will have more and more balancing out between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And this here is one of the very first signs of this in the new calendar year. After this, on January 9th, so the day after Mars comes into contact with Venus and they have their rebirth cycle, Mars has his rebirth reset, his cazimi with the sun, right here at 19 degrees and 12 minutes of Capricorn. Again, so a lot of emphasis in Capricorn. So this is the structure, and this does happen to be the top-down structure. Organization. It does deal with our governments. Capricorn deals with authority, and this is the authority of the government and the laws. Aquarius as well deals with politics and government in that sense. But this can be quite an authoritative rule. It can be quite violent. It can, like Mars is very strong in Capricorn. It is exalted in Capricorn. So that means Mars operates well in the sign of Capricorn, and it can have its full range of power, let's say. And in Capricorn, the shadow side of Capricorn, the light side of Capricorn is to help organize us all and help keep us, structured, and the discipline of Saturn, and helping us with our resources even of people, and helping us to structure society. But the negative side is that authoritative control that can tend to take over, and Mars can be violent. It's about conflict and war. It is about aggression. In our own lives, it is about our self-assertion and taking action. And so again, we'll be in Capricornian themes that help us with getting our lives together, setting our goals, reaching them, setting them, having these achievements, and setting a pace so that we do not burn out. So this moment initiates a 2-year cycle for Mars, for all of us, individually and collectively. And it's a really good time to set forth action in this very responsible area, wherever it falls in your life, to organize ourselves and to set forth what we want to project and create over the next 2 years. So again, just like Venus, Mars will go invisible. And then mid-March, around the solstice, Mars becomes visible again, and it rises in the sign here of Pisces. So look to your chart, because something is dying and being reborn here in this house of Capricorn. When it rises, it will be in Pisces. So it's a cosmic reset point that will affect your Capricorn house, your Pisces house, as well as the signs ruled by Mars, which are Aries and Scorpio. Find all those places and understand that these places are having a rebirth. And as we get closer to all of these dates, I will do more videos on the heliacal risings of these signs. So make sure to watch for those videos as they come out. One thing to notice that Mars does not change direction this year. So it won't go retrograde this year. It's just going to be a very fast-paced year, all things said. And it is a really good year to set forth, like I said, those goals already, those visions, so that we can move our lives forward. It's just a very good year of initiation, of new starts. It is a new 1 year in the universal cycle. I do want to point out that Mercury goes cazimi, so that means coming into contact with the sun 5 times this year. 5 times, all right? So the first time is on January 21st at 1 degree and 36 minutes of Aquarius. the second time will be March 7th at 16 degrees and 52 minutes of Pisces. On May 14th, it will happen at 23 degrees and 48 minutes of Taurus. On July 13th, it will happen at 20 degrees and 42 minutes of Cancer. On August 27th, it will happen at 4 degrees and 26 minutes of Virgo. On November 4th, it will happen at 12 degrees and 10 minutes of Scorpio. So again, Mercury will be coming into contact with the Sun and having a rebirth cycle. Notably, all of the Mercury retrogrades this year are in water signs. So when a planet goes retrograde, particularly Mercury, it's time to reflect on the qualities of that sign and of that planet. And Mercury is about our mind. It's about communication. It does deal with travel. It deals with our immediate environment. It deals with our siblings, our extended family, our vehicles. It deals a lot with our, like I said, our communication style, how we think, how we speak. If we're writing or podcasting or even speaking on video can be considered mercurial. So all of these forms of communication in going retrograde, so Mercury going retrograde in the water signs. The water signs deal with our emotions and our intuition, psychism, all our forms of being connected. Of course, all of the signs are different. In Cancer, it is more about our internal instinct. It can deal with our home and our foundations, our roots, our memories. In Scorpio, it can deal with our inner psychology, themes of transformation, issues with other people's resources. In Pisces, it can have these larger themes of the collective and the cosmic awareness and collective consciousness, being connected with everybody and everything, and being aware of ourselves as cosmic beings. So those will be quite notable. Every opportunity will give us another chance to reassess these mercurial themes in these water signs that keep us connected as a humanity to our humanity. Towards the end of January 26th, Neptune will ingress Aries. Shortly after that, we see Saturn ingress Aries on February 13th. And of course, it will be immediately applying to a conjunction with Neptune. But very important, but right before it does, we have an eclipse happening. It is a new moon solar eclipse happening at 28 degrees and 50 minutes of Aquarius. You can see here. We have a mixed year of eclipses this year. The first will be in Aquarius, and then in the sign of Virgo, and then in the sign of Leo, and then in the sign of Pisces. So just bouncing back and forth between the different axes of the nodal points. We have a lot of themes in Aquarius happening over 2026, because later in the year, mid-year, we will see the nodes shift. The North Node will move into Aquarius. So the eclipse in Aquarius, new moons tend to bring out new situations that we work with over a period of a year or longer with an eclipse. And there will be Aquarian themes. Of course, all of this will apply to your chart, how it aspects your planets and where it falls. And I will be doing breakdowns. But in terms of the eclipse happening, Aquarius deals a lot with the future and invention and technology and innovation. So this eclipse will probably see a lot of unfoldment in new technologies, maybe more AI, probably stuff around the transhuman agenda, but even greater technology. I think that there's going to be technology that we can't even imagine. But Aquarius also deals with themes around community and community building, whether they are our online community or if they are community that we deal with in person. I see this as a point where there will be many people coming into community, gathering in community, forming communities around the world. Again, whether they are online or in actual physical locations. Aquarius deals with very humanitarian themes, wanting to take care of one another, wanting to make sure that all of humanity is sheltered and safe and fed and is living a good life. So these are the themes that we probably will see coming forth. Now, shortly after that, just 3 days after the Aquarius eclipse, Saturn comes into a conjunction here with Neptune at 0 degrees and 45 seconds of Aries. This is monumental. This has not happened in our lifetime. And it's so significant because, well, it won't happen again in our lifetime. It's not so much about Saturn and Neptune coming into contact with one another. It is more about that it is on the Aries, 0 degrees Aries point, which is known to be a cardinal point on the world axis. It really does signify rebirthing our world, bringing a new world into our form, reimagining our world. So Neptune likes to dissolve and Saturn likes to build. These two come together roughly every 36 years, but it's never happened and it never will happen again in our lifetime. That's 0 degrees of Aries, which is the cardinal, which is known to be the cardinal point on the world axis. So indicative of birthing a whole new world. When these two come together, we know that empires rise and fall. We know that things that have been in place for lifetimes fall apart. We know that there are revolutionary periods and uprisings. We know that it deals with global turning points and shifts in media, in technology even, and in religious movements. So this is the cycle that it's birthing. Again, it's not just about one point. Astrology is never about one specific day. We're not going to see all this happen in one day, but it will be ripples that go out and affect us and start new eras of beingness for humanity on Earth. It's so remarkable. Things like the fall of the Berlin Wall and then the unification of the East and West are associated with this. Many scientific revolutions with this conjunction. And then just also different ideologies springing forth and waves of independent movings and uprisings. So it's just something to look forward to. And I cannot emphasize enough how significant the 0 Aries point is and what that means to us as a collective. It's really just as big as monumental as Pluto conjunct Saturn that happened January 12th, 2020, where we saw our whole world change with the occurrences of what were to follow in the years in 2020 and the years following. So this is just as big and we can expect just as huge things. Now, in terms of Saturn being here, Saturn is considered in its fall in Aries. So in our own individual lives, we will have to put forth more effort when it comes to creating or putting structure to things or keeping disciplined, because Saturn doesn't operate all that well in Aries. So there is this awareness that we will have to, like I said, just put more effort and attention to staying disciplined, to keeping with our discipline, with our goals and our structure. On March 3rd, we have a lunar eclipse that is happening here, 12 degrees, 51 minutes of Virgo. Lunar eclipses finish their culmination points. This is going to be a full moon and it's going to reveal things. Virgo deals a lot with our health systems, the medical system, as does Pisces, right? And I think that there's going to be a lot of illumination, perhaps, around health, something coming forth with health and the medical systems. So maybe a lot of disclosure happening, because remember, Pluto is still here in Aquarius, and Aquarius, the sign of humanity, sign of technology, revolution, higher mind and communication here in the air. And Pluto going through, breaking it down, wanting to transform it, and digging deep for truth and answers and disclosure. So this could be disclosure around our medical establishments, things to do with anything medical, but Virgo also deals with, again, order and perfectionism and purity. There's a purity to Virgo, but the downside and shadow can be wanting things to be too perfect, and there could be awareness for us around this as well. So this is another key point in the astrology for the year ahead. This eclipse on February 3rd, Uranus stations direct at 27 degrees and 28 minutes of Taurus. On April 25th, Uranus will move into Gemini. It's going to be there for 7 years. It started in 2025. It'll continue to be there till 2033. And Uranus is expected to bring swift, radical, disruptive, and liberating changes, particularly dealing with communication, our intellect, transportation, even education, and our local environment. We might see more moving forward with AI again, any type of technological and artificial developments, the forward moving of transhumanism. We will see this in this time period. Also things affecting our transportation, just new innovative styles for transportation. I think during this period too, we're going to start to have even more problems with, like, currently problems with air flight and instrumentation. We've been seeing that. Just the other day, we saw a plane crash into a car. So there's going to be a switch in transportation. It's going to become really highly advanced. I think things that we will boggle our minds, will just blow our minds really. And also just problems with current transportation as well. And some of that might be due to the obviously solar flares and what's impacting the earth, these things, technology being affected by that. So that I think is some of it. Another thing affected by Uranus and Gemini is our nervous system. So we really need to do what we have to keep ourselves calmed down. A lot of us will have to unplug from digital, from being online. You know, the doom scrolling will have to go for many people. And this period will see lots of even more civil unrest. We're seeing that already. We're seeing this around the world. It seems as if every day there's some type of new unrest happening, and protests and even riots and just disruptions in general around the world. On June 20th, we're going to see Chiron moving into Taurus. This is going to be another point where just lots of change for us coming through here with Chiron healing in through Taurus. By then, Uranus will be out and it will never go back into Taurus in our lifetime. Well, for most of us anyways. Maybe some people might see Uranus in Taurus again. But Chiron is known as the wounded healer, and where it goes, it will heal. So it's going to heal these themes, whatever Uranus went in and overturned, and the issues that it brought up, wherever area that is for you in your chart. Chiron's going to come through and, like a healing balm, start to initiate changes that deal with healing those things, which maybe for some it's nervous system dysregulation. In this natural chart here in the second house, it does deal with our finances, our personal resources, our value system. Could be those things. And also healing in the food systems, healing and solutions coming through for agriculture, food inequity. On March 10th, Jupiter in Cancer stations direct. Jupiter at that point will be at 15 degrees and 5 minutes Cancer, a very auspicious and exalted degree. Not a coincidence that it's going to station direct on that point, really bringing it into focus. Because remember, when planets station, they slow down, they stop, and there's just more emphasis here on this 15 degree point. The benefics are going to conjoin. So Venus is going to come into a conjunction with Jupiter on June 9th at 25 degrees and 46 minutes of Cancer. And this is an auspicious day for all of us. So this is a really great day for so many things involving relationship, partnership, all things benevolent, all things Jupiterian, dreaming big. If you want to launch something that deals with teaching or even aesthetics or food, Venus deals with food, or even some type of wealth or wealth management, that is going to be an ideal time. It's going to be a great day, a really great day. Then Jupiter on June 29th moves into Leo right here. You see Jupiter's here at 0 degrees, 0 minutes of Leo, where it will stay for a year. And then it will expand the qualities of Leo. Jupiter expands, but Jupiter going into Leo is about the self, and it's about shining. It's represented by the sun. It does represent our ego. It represents being an individual and showing up and boldly pronouncing ourselves to the world. It's like enthusiasm and joy and living from our heart and spreading joy and being happy and shining our light. And wherever Jupiter goes, it expands. So we will see an expansion of these themes relating to Leo, and even leaders in the world, celebrities or influencers, or people that really have spotlight, they might take a real prominence, but not necessarily in the best light, because the South Node, which is currently still here at 2 degrees and 37 minutes of Virgo, is going to move into Leo. And where the South Node goes, there's going to be a depletion of energy. So for the first while, all of these Leonian traits will really be expanded and prominent and obvious. But then as soon as the South Node moves in, which will happen, the true nodes move in on July 26th, then the energy will change again. On July 26th of 2026, the true nodes will shift from Virgo into Leo and from Pisces into Aquarius. And this just is going to bring up so many new themes. So whenever the nodes change, they change their modality. It's moving from water and earth into fire and air. So that alone is just such a huge change and shift that we will feel. The South Node is going to be here with Leo, and it will in Leo, and it will come into contact here with Jupiter. Now, this South Node going through the house of Leo is energy being depleted and movement away from these themes of Leo. So the ego and the drive so much to be seen, and the drive to like things like celebrity worship and icon worship, or even worship of leadership. I actually remember I predicted this back in my other video as well, with the North Node being in Aquarius. Again, Aquarius deals with humanity and very humanitarian values. It deals with innovation and technology and community-based solutions. And with the North Node going through here, this is what is expanding, and this is what is coming into our awareness, and this is what we want in our lives. And with the North Node going through this house and opposing this house of Leo, these Leo themes are going to be less apparent. And I think that there's going to be more of a division between the people that have and the people that don't have. And there is already the culture, you can see it already, of the influencers crashing. It's all over. Like, so many people are talking about it on social media because they're so disconnected from reality, and many celebrities as well. I'm not saying all celebrities, and I'm not saying all influencers. I'm saying the ones that are disconnected from the reality of humanity, the humanity that is struggling, the humanity that the people that cannot afford to pay their bills and they're getting evicted, the people that cannot afford to buy food. And then you have people and celebrities, these influencers, their platforms are based completely on materialism. Their platforms are based completely on consumerism, and their platforms are exorbitant and excessive and out of touch and not realistic for many people right now. So the collective is sick of it, and they're dropping them. It's all over TikTok. It's all over social media. And we're going to see more of that. And I predict just a complete collapse of those kind of materialistically driven, selfish, ego-driven influencers. The influencers of the future are going to be the ones here that care greatly about humanity, that want to help humanity, that want to influence in terms of new invention and new ideas and how we can move forward. And again, there's nothing wrong with material wealth and success. I'm not saying that that is wrong. I'm saying that there are people who are just so out of touch with the reality that most people have to live, and they are going to fall out of favor in this time period while the South Node is moving through Leo. And it will be there until May of 2028. So the mean nodes move in August 18th. It depends on what you use, if you use true or mean. So towards the end of July, mid-August, the nodes have moved, and they will stay there for a year and a half. Then, as well, before the nodes switch signs, on August 12th, there will be a new moon solar eclipse at 20 degrees and 2 minutes here of Leo. So again, further emphasis on Leo, and a new moon starts things. So a lot of starting of things to do with being bold, being courageous, shining our light, Leonian things and themes, glamour even. Leo has a certain, Neptune really, I think, is that domain, but Leo does also have this presentation quality, the star quality. So things being launched and seeing more in the world around this theme. Then on August 28th, we will see a full moon lunar eclipse at 4 degrees and 51 minutes of Pisces. So a lunar eclipse again is a full moon, so culminations and light being shone. And things again being highlighted on this axis here of health, purity, well-being, medical systems, medicine. So things perhaps being revealed. This is the second Venus, Cazimi, and star point, so her rebirth. It happens on October 24th. Venus, as you can see here, is at 0 degrees and 45 minutes of Scorpio. So she is retrograde. You can see that here as well. And so it's an inferior conjunction. And this one is super important because this one is our last one in a lifetime. So the star points move backwards. And after that, this is the last degree of Scorpio. And so there's just quite a few like once in a lifetime things that have been happening over the last couple of years and into the next few years. And it's just so exciting. And this is one of them. So again, a star point rebirths. It rebirths Venus, but Venus is going into Scorpio. But we've seen lots of volatility in the market because Scorpio and Taurus is the axis of the financial market. So volatility there. And Scorpio ruled by Mars is, remember, Mars was in Capricorn at the beginning of the year in its reset. So that Mars is strong, it's action driven and maybe even aggressive. And in Scorpio, despots at Scorpio, and it just wants that same aggression. So perhaps more conflict, yes, and it's more about that underbelly of the beast being shown and being visible and coming to light. That's kind of like this star point. And remember that our lives are different. I'm just, showing us what could happen on the world stage. After this, Venus, she will become visible as a morning star beginning of November all the way until the end of 2026. So that is her rebirth cycle. And as we get closer to that, I will make sure to do more on her. But this one is initiating her morning star and her west waxing phase. So a few other things that are just so beautiful this year. There's this basket configuration between, you can see it here, with Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto comes into 4 degrees. It's phenomenal, really. For a short while, the moon will be here as well. So I don't think we've ever seen anything like this because the outer planets haven't aligned this way before. And this is just honestly such benevolence and the energy of protection and harmony flow with all of these planets. It feels so creative, and there's a stability and structure, this fusion of creativity, but also structure at the same time with all these planets of transformation of humanity and the spiritual awakening here of humanity, and then technological revolution, really asserting our individuality. And then here, for that brief moment, this moon in here in Libra, with balance and harmony coming through. But also throughout the year and the years into 2027, there's this trine here, this harmonious trine between Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. And that's considered very benevolent and protective. Some people akin it to angelic protection. Definitely a sense of a spiritual awe to it and protection that we have during these times. Because remember, these are very tumultuous times when empires are crashing and governments and systems they're crashing too. Things are decaying, things are in their decay state, and we're watching all the systems collapse, and we're watching governments implode, we're watching empires fall, and we're watching what we once thought was so rigid and so in place fall apart. And this is such benevolence coming in, particularly this little trine here, of really being able to assist us and keep us sheltered and keep us protected through these times. That's what I see there. Yeah, I see exciting times and lots of change. And added to this, Pluto is out of bounds, meaning that it is surpassing the declination of its regular orbit around the sun. So thank you first to Rosalind Finn, who did exceptional research work with Pluto being out of bounds, and for sharing all that information with us. And so Pluto is going out of bounds every year, starting this year, 2025, until 2035. So first 10 years of it being in Aquarius. And this just is actually a propellant further helping us. It's like another protection for us. It just helps us so much with helping us break down the regime, any old structures, and anything that has kept humanity back. So that is another benevolent sign for all of us. So that is like a very quick run through some of the most important aspects and configurations and themes that we will be stepping into the new year. I will be breaking all of the signs down, so watch for your sign. If it's not already posted here, make sure just to come back, because it will be, okay? Because I'm going through all of the signs. So thank you very much for watching. I'm wishing you a fantastic year ahead, and I hope to see you on your sign video. Stay blessed, beloved souls.